And now, back to the Sports Joc, Wayne Gandy.
Players Lounge. You have been given full access to the Players Lounge on the Sports Joc Show with Wayne Gandy.
Does that make me crazy?
Welcome back to the Sports Joc Show. I'm the Sports Joc Wayne Gandy, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio. You can go to the Sports Joc page, that's joc.com, and check us out, 888-926-7562 or 404-603-8770. We do have the honor and pleasure to invite a gentleman who I've never met, but when the Rams, as we left California, L.A. at the time in 94, headed to St. Louis in 95. So Big Kenny, Southern Playerlistic got me through L.A. Yeah. And then Soul Food got me through my first year in St. Louis. We have one of the Goody Mob members, one of the Voice, from The Voice, 3 seasons on there, 3 or 4 seasons on The Voice.
Me and my family move in our apartment complex. The gate with security code will put up next.
Mr. CeeLo Green is on the line. Good morning to you, CeeLo.
Good morning, sports fans.
Good morning, sir. How? First and foremost, the Green Heart Gala this Sunday. You want to talk to us about it and how it started?
Oh yeah, well, it's an extension of Greenhouse Foundation, which is founded by me and my sister, Shadonna Alexander Calloway, in memory of my mother and grandmother, Ruby Calloway and Sheila Calloway, who were both highly regarded philanthropists in our community as we were growing up, and so we took it on as an inheritance, like a responsibility, and also an acknowledgement toward them to carry on the legacy.
CeeLo, good morning. This is Big Kenny. A lot of celebrities that span the spectrum from entertainment to professional sports have taken up mantles to champion. Usually they're political or socially geared. What made you take up the mantle of our environment?
Well, I mean, as with art, as with most things, we are a product of the environment of which we come from, and so Atlanta, Georgia, has done a great deal, and a great justice to my life from, the many trial and error and experiences that I've had here. That they've really established a well-rounded and grounded individual artist and adult in me, and so therefore, the first natural place is to start right where you're standing. You know what I'm saying? And so therefore, we start with community first. And even with mentioning Goody Mob earlier, I think that of course anyone who would be familiar with that music, they would always know that we had always based what we had to say in our conversation upon community and the civil service. To the best of our ability, and I think we did a good job.
Outstanding. Speaking of the Goody Mob and your musical accolades, which are too many to list here, the state of rap now, the Goody Mob was known for conscious promoting of community, of uplift. What do you think has changed in rap music since then that now we seem to be going in a different direction, a lot more violence and misogyny, drug use, that kind of thing?
I think that it's unfortunate, to some degree. I do believe that it is, celebrated and perpetuated on our parts, but I don't think that it lacks truth. I think it just lacks solution. It lacks balance. It lacks a broader scope or a larger trajectory of the truth, and someone has to represent at least the aspiration, because all things stem from the acknowledgement. Any solution that could possibly exist or could be curated or created has to stem from the acknowledgement of a problem. And so therefore, the problem is it stems far beyond the artists themselves when a lot of the action is just involuntary. You know what I mean? Although, even as adults and young adults and as artists and as professionals, so we have to, hold ourselves accountable for the things that we say and the images that we portray. But then also there's an accountability that should be taken at radio and at television. And let's face it, you know what I mean? Like it is capitalist in the context of, sometimes music is deemed disposable and, it's all profit, especially if it's a junk bond. So it's easier, if it's ignorant to turn a profit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A song about a solution seems very sobering, and it also seems like a sad one. So it's not as entertaining. So therefore, I understand the aspect of art and the embellishment of truth, but balance is really all that I can ask for. And so therefore, when I was coming up in my era, there was you'd have a Two Live Crew, but you'd also have a Public Enemy, as well. So. And both of them were viable commodities in the marketplace. So, we just have to, broaden our scope again, you know what I mean?
Well,
and show that it can be viable.
CeeLo, one of the hot button topics, especially around the sport world, that I'm quite sure comes across your table is the national anthem. A lot of people are stepping away from trying to sing it. We've seen some protests during the national anthem. What is your stance on the national anthem?
I do respect the fact that we reserve the rights to protest civilly, peacefully, objectively, and it does bring about the discussion, the dialogue, and the dynamic of which individuals can start to act as such. And so there is some positivity and some productivity in that, but then also, if it's not consistent, one act of protest or what have you could also be written off as something passive. You know what I'm saying? So before, it needs to be promoted as such, it needs to be, instilled in your everyday action, in your attitude, in what you aspire for, without the light shine on you, or but it's not to go unsung. So I can appreciate it when those who have a platform to be influential stand up and they speak their piece. But there's a larger conversation to have, and you aren't going to get the total truth or the complete thought in sound bites and highlights. You know what I'm saying? So. You're going to have to separate it from sports and entertainment and really sit down at the table about what our dilemma actually is, and can we come to a conclusion or a solution.
And CeeLo, that leads into my next question. With a lot of social unrest, political injustice, they look to conscious entertainers like yourself for answers, for comments. Has there ever been a time when you felt like saying, man, look, I don't have anything to do with that, just let me make music? Or do you feel compelled to get involved?
Well, as these things affect us, some things more immediate than others, as an artist, you can't help but, empathize, with the way of the world, or the signs of the times, because we're wired to be receptive to it and reactionary to it, and so therefore I can witness something going on far beyond my control, and feel a sense of compassion or empathy. You know what I mean? Like for someone else's experience, and maybe you can write a song, of solitude. You know what I mean? Like or shared sentiment. And maybe bless someone's heart. And you know what I mean? And then each one teach one, and it becomes the gift that keeps on giving. But no, I don't think that it's always everyone's agenda to be politically outspoken. I say what you can. You know what I'm saying? Like say what you mean. and say what you know for fact. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
don't be in denial of truth, and don't be ignorant. Don't be blind. But things are becoming so apparent. How can we deny what the realities that we share all across this planet? You know what I mean? How can we deny, global warming and larger events of that magnitude? And then so that also kind of refers back to an earlier comment of a responsibility of balance, with radio programming and things of that nature. I wish these things could be made to where they were more insightful and entertaining, you know what I mean, or attractive in a way. I wish information was more attractive because Lord knows it's all out there at our access, and we don't use our power enough. So there's a lot of information to galvanize, and so I can only hope that someone who recognizes my voice or my face or knows anything that I've done, can listen to me today and hear a more stern, more, a more clearer, and cognizant, perspective from me, and realize that you can be dynamic in that way as well. It does not have to you don't have to be single-minded.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, CeeLo. Do you think the balance will come back to hip hop for? Me and you are a similar age. For every NWA, there was an Arrested Development. Do you ever see? And both artists, both groups were sought after as far as popularity and album sales. Do you see a balance ever coming back to hip hop?
I believe there is some balance. I believe that it's a gradual progression. When you see the likes of Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, or Childish Gambino, I mean, these young guys, I got to give them a great deal of credit because a lot of what the disconnect is, a lot of our elders who we write, in the book, we regard them to biblical proportion, like the Chuck D's and the Rakims. They didn't go on to become owners. You know what I'm saying? Like, teachers, mentors. You know what I'm saying? Like, or anything. To sustain and maintain quality control when hip hop was a communal thing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So it's hard to ration with a young guy who can put up a song independently via SoundCloud or YouTube, what have you, and this thing go viral, and they're able to go out and garner, $15,000-$20,000 a show. I mean, so these guys are behaving really independently. So there is, some revolutionary, action, you know what I'm saying, and advancement in that. And so I have to give these young guys credit. Like, most of the young guys who are charting, whether it's Lil Uzi Vert, Lil Yachty, Young Thug, the Migos, you name it. A lot of these young guys, they don't even have major record label deals anymore. So, they are their own bosses and controllers of their own destiny. So, therefore, after the song is over and the show is over, who are you as a human being, as a young man, and and what's your place in this world? I'm saying, as an influence,
Aside from the moral and philosophical agendas, aside from political, musically, you ever look at any of these guys and think to yourself, I'd body this dude lyrically. I can't wait to get in the studio because I'm about to murk all of these dudes.
You know what? It's okay to say it, CeeLo. It's okay.
Come on, man. We've heard you. We know.
We know how it is.
Yeah, you know what? But I don't necessarily. I don't necessarily think that. But somebody's just kind of doing their thing. But one thing I do realize in terms of just, I guess maybe it's physics, if you will. Simplicity is not a lesser law than complexity. You know what I mean? So,
right.
It's like. I've been with Smokey Robinson the last month or so. I've done 3 tributes to involving him, one with Congress, one with Music Cares, a Grammy, Academy Association. So I've honored him a couple of times, and you think about those songs of the Motown, like what make what's the I guess you say, what can make me feel this way, my girl?
Right.
I've got sunshine on the cloud. You know what I mean? Like, these were very simple songs, but as I quote that song, everybody within my voice, they can quote it. They know that record. So that's something to say about simplicity. And a lot of the times when you're doing something that is just your talent, it can become polarizing. You know what I mean? Because it's like, all right, well, you were blessed to be double jointed or something like that, or you can do a backwards flip, or I can't do it. So people tend to gravitate towards something that it seemingly, is perceived that I can do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's easier to sing along to, and in one regard that's cool, but in another regard it does lower the bar, and there, and I remember once I said that hip hop was once an Ivy League, so you don't really need any accreditations, to kind of get in anymore. It's almost like a community college. It's almost like a trade school or DeVry or something. And so those institutions, but DeVry is a long way from Harvard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would. I just want to say, I haven't heard any music lately that would make me have the same reaction. Your verse on Get Up, Get Out, and Get Something literally changed my perspective on life. It gave me motivation to change the direction of my life. And I don't hear that in music anymore. So thank you for delivering that type of content in music.
And last question for you, CeeLo, and we'll let you go. And thank you once again for calling in. What door would you say opened up after doing The Voice that wasn't open before you went into it?
I left The Voice amicably, I might add, because I can explain a bit more about what that was about. It was all spoken about, in advance. We all knew that there would come a time of where they wanted to kind of make the cultures interchangeable, keep the format fresh, new artists or familiar artists with different perspectives, and so on and so forth. And of course, yes, I mean, like that makes complete and total sense, So, but what happened for me, I was able to make myself invaluable in one regard, or unforgettable at the least. So I became a brand, and I became that name became a commodity. You know what I'm saying? And so therefore, I was able to take that and go and independently do my own Vegas show, and I was calling it Loberace at the time. So I went and did that, and a lot of what people were familiar with the character, of CeeLo Green on The Voice. I took that to Vegas, and I was able to make my, my own little bit of history there. Because Goody Mob was a part of the show. I brought hip hop to the Las Vegas Strip. Where it had never been prior. So, and sometimes, I can even credit myself for being a little ahead of the curve. Curve on a lot of occasions. And then every now and again, I'm right on time. And so now, I've been given the opportunity at Sony Records to have my own label, and it's called Mothership Entertainment. So being a mentor, being an A&R, an executive producer, artist developer, so on and so forth, I'm able to really do that in real life now with real artists, and I am going to be releasing a lot of material, man, top of the year. So look out for me, man. CeeLo Green, man. The mothership is landing.
The mothership is landing. I love that.
First of all, I stand a little more than 5 feet tall.
Thank you, CeeLo, for calling in, and I'm going to make it out to your gala on Sunday. Please hang up. We'll be back. More of the Sports Joc Show right after this.
And now, more of the Sports Joc Morning Show on Atlanta's AM 1100.